Right, now you probably know about Star Ghana, right? The foundation that funds lots of initiatives in the media and advocacy and non-governmental space to help connect Ghanaian people closer to power, authority, accountability, and so forth. They've been doing this for quite a while, but they are going through some manner of transition. And we're going to learn all about it. We're very honored to have with us a member of their board of trustees, newly set up board of trustees, Dr. Steve Mantia. How nice to see you.
My pleasure.
Excellent. Now, Star Ghana has been around for a while, but things are changing. Talk us through it briefly.
Well, basically, it's about facilitating citizens' engagement with their governments. And this has been going on for a very long time. Indeed, Star Ghana inherited what we used to call GRAP. And it went through a 2-year phase, covering a period of 10 years. So the first 5-year phase, we saw a lot of support going into citizens' advocacy for policy and practice change. And this has continued into the second phase. But all this, which in my view, contributes greatly to our governance, national governance and development processes, have come to a point where we as Ghanaians need to own it, because it's all this while being funded by donors. Right. The UK aid, European Union, and Danida. But we cannot continue to depend on our development partners for supporting development work, especially on the side of civil society, in terms of their engagement with their governments and all that. So we taking a strategic decision to move into a transitional phase that will see Star Ghana now owned and driven, not by donors, but by citizens, Ghanaians. And so as part of the transition phase, we are establishing new governance structures. And I think between now and 16th November, we are going to launch the new Star Ghana, which is Star Ghana Foundation.
Now, I mean, to hit it, we already know that UK aid, Danida, these donors you've mentioned have all publicly announced their intention to actually scale back their aid to Ghana. So is that not really a case that Star Ghana is basically just fighting to survive by seeking another way of getting donors because your existing donors have pulled out?
No, not really. As I indicated, Star Ghana had a life time frame of 10 years, and that comes to an end this year. But more importantly also, we know there's been certain developments within our body politic. First and foremost, Ghana achieved what we call a middle income status. We saw a number of governments cutting back on their development assistance to Ghana. Recently, our president has declared a Ghana Beyond Aid, which invariably could lead to the cutting back of more development support for the country. I recall in a recent encounter leaders of civil society had with the president, the concern about the potential effect of Ghana Beyond Aid on development work, especially on the part of civil society, was brought to bear on our deliberations. And the president actually emphasized his conviction that we could not continue depending on the generosity of our development partners to finance our own citizens' engagement with their governments, and that it becomes a challenge for all of us, government and citizens alike, to begin to brainstorm ways in which we can generate our own internal resources to finance our own citizens' engagement with state actors. And so I think it's something that has evolved over time, and it just coincided with the fact that, well, we are seeing a certain cutback in donor support for this country. But I think it's all for good, because then it actually clears a space for us to be able to determine our own destiny as we engage with government and finance with our own resources these engagements.
So in pursuit of this, you have an event today, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, tell us about it.
Well, it's actually a public lecture which is planned for tomorrow. Today we are having a series of media engagement just to shed more light on this transition process and to get a public support and buy-in into the new direction of Star Ghana Foundation. We've all been beneficiaries of Star Ghana, and we means no words in saying that the support received from Star Ghana has enabled us to do so much for this country. My own society that I chair, I'm in association, that's the civil society platform on oil and gas, through some of these support, managed to save this country as much as 15 million Ghana cedis in potential tax avoidance on the part of the Chinese in the construction of the gas processing facility at Atuabo. And I know other groups like Imani, and I also know that Joy FM at some point has also received some support and all that. And all these have contributed into moving Ghana to the point where we are now. And so we're having a public lecture which is aimed primarily to sensitize Ghanaians about this change and the need for us to get our shoulders under the wheel to make this new change.
Well, we're all excited about the next chapter for Star Ghana, and these two events coming up today and tomorrow obviously will herald that next chapter. Until then, thank you so much, Dr. Steve Mantia, for stopping by to educate us on this. Good stuff. Well, coming up next is AM Showbiz. Cardi Malardi will be here in just a moment with all the headlines. Stay tuned.